Oh no no, yow 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 yow. Oh no 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 no. Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out the secret world of Eel Pie Island. Be sure to go to RobsLondon, like, subscribe. Be sure to go to RobsLondon and like and subscribe, you guys. Wait, let me make sure I am. Hang on. I'm subscribed and I like. Very good. Look at that. I assume this is Eel Pie Island. It's hard to believe this is in London, you know? In a huge city.
Hello, and thanks for stopping by.
Hello, Rob. My pleasure, thank you, sir.
Eels, especially jellied eels, are a traditional delicacy closely associated with London, the recipe having originally developed over 200 years ago in the city's East End as a cheap meal for the poor.
Not gonna judge that dish right now. We're talking about the island.
You can still dine on eels today, both jellied and stewed, in any one of London's pie and mash shops. Personally, and no doubt to most people, controversially, I've always thought they're rather tasty. Although if you're not keen on the idea, then the pie and mash itself is always a sound option.
That looks good.
One eel dish that's been lost to time though is eel pie. Even as long ago as 1895, a writer named Charles Ross lamented its demise when he recalled that, as a schoolboy, he often bought a pie at one of those cheap eel pie shops which once used to abound, but now seem to be dying away. The eel in the extreme interior was well enough, but the pastry a puzzle, the disposal of which required care and cunning.
I'm not going to judge the jellied eel, but I will say an eel pie seems more appetizing than jellied eel. It's a texture thing, right? Texture.
Another reminder of this archaic fare is the fact that one of London's most unique areas is named in its honour, Eel Pie Island, a slip of land which lies on the Thames between Twickenham and the area of Richmond known as Ham.
That's amazing. Beautiful.
Home to around 120 people, Eel Pie Island is the largest inhabited island on the Thames.
Hang on, y'all. Show me on a map. Eel Pie Island. Oh, it's way over there. Wow. I mean, you could argue that it's not even in London anymore because it's outside of the circle. The, Upper Richmond Road circle. No, that's not what it's called. The circle. My real only reference for Twickenham is I know that the Beatles started recording Let It Be at Twickenham Studios. It's a TV studio. There it is. Wow, 120 people live here. Richmond Yacht Club. Is that one of those narrowboats? Oh, lovely. Twickenham Rowing Club. Ah, this looks like what we just saw. That photo was in front of it. Swans. Look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, sounds like London. Or a big city. I don't mean like police sirens mean London, but I thought British police sirens sounded different than American ones, but that sounds like an American one. Yeah, I thought British sirens were like, maybe that's France or Switzerland or something. Anyway, 120 people live here.
There are no roads for cars on it though, and the only access is via boat or this footbridge, the latter option having only been available since the 1950s.
Oh, so there is
what
a bridge.
Eel Pie Island lacks in accessibility though, it more than makes up for in history and character, and in this video I'd like to share its remarkable story with you.
This looks great. Y'all, this is like my point of reference. This reminds me of Venice, California, Venice Beach. There's this place with all these little canals and little bridges and things, and it's hard to believe you're in Los Angeles. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
I'd like to share its remarkable story with you. Today also happens to be a rather special occasion, as I'm filming during one of only 2 open house weekends held each year, when, for a short time, the public are invited to explore parts of the island which are usually private, namely the vibrant collection of galleries and art studios. So, as we make our way around, expect to see some truly unique sights.
Oh, it's like a bohemian place. Pies and pleasure. It looks like a banana.
Technically, Eel Pie Island is an ayat, the term for a long, narrow island found in a river. And although it's now home to a secluded community, it was, for many years, a popular leisure destination which groups of Londoners would head to for a relaxing day out. The Riviera of the Thames, if you will.
Wow.
One of the first representations of the island.
It's crazy to think that this island has been there that long, but of course it has, right? I guess I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't been dug up and moved, like out of the way. It's still there after all this time.
Can be seen on this map dating from 1635, on which the cartographer Moses Glover noted, "This hath been a bowling alley."
Oh.
It's possible Henry VIII may have played bowls here, for it said he was fond of the island, Hampton Court not being too far away. And it's also believed he was a
Hampton. Oh, okay. I was thinking like Buckingham Palace, but Hampton Court's a whole other place. Okay. Let's get directions from Hampton Court Palace to Eel Pie Island. Oh, I see. It is like a straight... I mean, if you're taking the roads, it's a lot farther, but it is... Oh, look at that. Chestnut Avenue? Wow. I don't think I've heard of Hampton Court Palace. Oh, wow. Henry VIII lived there? Oh my God. Of course he did. Look at that. Wow. How long would it take me? On a train, 38 minutes. In a car, 17 minutes. On foot, an hour and 15 minutes. That's not bad.
fan of the area's eel pies.
I bet he took horse.
Twickenham was indeed noted for its fresh eels. Its why the borough's coat of arms depicts a swan clutching one in its beak.
Oh, wow.
By the early 18th century, Eel Pie Island was already a well-established destination. To accommodate the many visitors, a tavern called The Ship opened on a spot roughly in the middle of the island in 1737, which came to be adjoined by an eel pie house, the forerunner to today's pie and mash shops.
In the 1700s, wow.
Originally, Eel Pie Island was known as Twickenham Ayot, but as I'm sure you've already guessed, it was the celebrated pies sold and consumed here that's led to its more affectionate title.
Must have been good.
As one journalist noted in August 1830, Twickenham Ayot is better known to its Cockney visitors under the name of Eel Pie Island.
Oh, is that a Cockney rhyming thing? Eel Pie Island. Twickenham Ite. No, I don't think so.
A few years later, Charles Dickens mentioned Eel Pie Island in his 1839 novel Nicholas Nickleby. Miss Morlena Kenwigs had received an invitation to repair next day, per steamer from Westminster Bridge, onto the Eel Pie Island at Twickenham, there to make merry, and to dance in the open air to the music of a locomotive band.
Locomotive band?
Throughout the 19th and early 20th century, the ship, which later became known as the White Cross, and then the Eel Pie Island Hotel, was rebuilt and enlarged. In 1898, one such addition included a large ballroom, an important aspect which we'll return to later.
Ballroom? Not a big fan of ballrooms right now, if you know what I'm talking about. A little island of industry.
In 1860, Twickenham Rowing Club established themselves on Eel Pie Island, where they remain to this day. And over the years, a number of boat yards have also sprung up.
Okay.
One such yard, which opened in 1892, was that of the Thames Electric and Steam Launch Company, which, as the name suggests, pioneered electrically powered vessels.
Okay.
Another company of note once associated with Eel Pie Island was Daimler, whose founders,
Mercedes-Benz?
Frederick Sims and Gottfried Daimler, started out testing their petrol engines on boats before making the switch to cars.
Oh. Wow.
In the year 1899, the entire island was sold on no less than 2 separate occasions. The first transaction occurred in January, when a local brewery snapped it up at auction for £4,700, About 532,000 in today's money.
That's still a
which
good
is an
deal.
absolute bargain.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get much in Twickenham for that nowadays. Although I imagine the price was relatively low, as in the days before the Thames flood barrier, parts of the island often found themselves underwater.
Oh,
The brewery
what the what barrier now? The Thames flood barrier. I didn't know about that. Is it like a dam that controls the water height? Thames. A retractable barrier system built to protect the floodplain of most of Greater London from exceptionally high tides and storm surges moving up from the North Sea. It has been operational since 1982. When needed, it is closed during high tide. At low tide, it can be opened to restore the river's flow towards the sea. Oh, that's... what? That looks so futuristic. What? That's not what I was picturing at all. Oh, it's like a faucet. Literally. Oh, okay. Wow. It looks like something from Minority Reporters.
The water. The brewery only held onto the island for 8 months. It was sold again in August 1899, this time for £7,352 to an Ealing resident named Edwin Stevens.
That's a quick profit.
Edwin
I would've held on
maintained
to
and
it.
enlarged the island's hotel and subdivided parts of the land into private plots, laying the groundwork for the residential housing that exists on Ilpie Island today.
I would have kept it for myself.
One early resident, shown here in 1914, was a woman named Mrs. Lawrence, who proudly pitched a tent on her plot, a trailblazer for the bohemian spirit that would later come to define Ilpie Island.
She was the first bohemian on the Ilpie Island.
In 1912, a film company called the Phoenix Film and Picture Company was set up on Ilpie Island too, using a converted boathouse as their studio.
Film studios need a lot of stuff coming in and out. That would be tough to maintain on an island. Everything has to come over by boat, you know?
Phoenix became known for their comedies, featuring characters such as Lieutenant Pimple and the duo Lemon and Dash, which were especially popular with troops during the Great War, although by 1919 the studio had closed down.
That makes sense. Not a great spot for that.
Speaking of World War I, there was a major raid on Ilpie Island in August 1916, when police sailed over to track down men believed to be avoiding military service. It would have been a tempting place to hide, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually a
In
good
all,
idea.
40 arrests were made.
They were. Wow. They were hiding. Ilpie Island.
Edwin Stevens, who'd purchased the island in the late 1890s, passed away in 1942, and his death, along with the impact of 2 world wars, saw a decline in Ilpie Island's fortunes as visitor numbers began to dwindle. Things began to look up in the 1950s though, when the Ilpie Island Hotel was bought by an antiques dealer named Michael Snapper.
What's he doing with his dog?
It was Michael Snapper who oversaw construction of the island's first bridge in 1957, and in the early days it cost tuppence to cross, a toll collected by 2 elderly women who, by all accounts, could be rather formidable.
That's smart. Building that footbridge is really smart. The movie studio should have thought of doing that. Very smart. And charging a toll. Hell yeah.
All accounts
Get that money.
could be rather formidable.
Get it.
While the bridge made the old ferry service redundant, a passenger ferry still operates today, just east of Ilpie Island. Run by the family firm Hamertons since 1908, it continues to provide a useful link between Ham and Twickenham, and very friendly to services too. I highly recommend it.
It's been going for 100 and...
By the time
13
Michael
years?
Snapper took over the hotel, its former grandeur had long faded. He had ambitious plans to revive it, including creating a casino and roller skating rink, but these were swiftly rejected by the council,
Living
and
it.
as it transpired, salvation would come in a different guise. In 1956, a fellow named Arthur Chisnell persuaded Snapper to let him begin hosting traditional jazz concerts at the hotel's ballroom on weekends, something Chisnell was no stranger to, having organised similar events during his army service in the Second World War.
Now I see where the ballroom comes in, and I also see why Mick Jagger was on the thumbnail for this video. I see where this is headed. Okay. That's smart.
Branded as
That's
one
very
word,
smart.
Ilpailand, spelled E-L-P-I-L-A-N-D, the first jazz night took place on the 20th of April 1956 and was an event which young people, who by now were becoming known as teenagers, flocked to dance on the ballroom's famously bouncy sprung floor.
That's scary.
The Ilpai Islands Jazz Club was an immediate success, and over the following years, numerous greats played here, including Akka Bilk, Terry Lightsfoot, and Ken Collier, who stated, "Ilpai Island is as close to New Orleans in England. The atmosphere and the feel is here. I have never experienced it so strongly anywhere else."
Wow. It does kind of remind me of New Orleans. With all the water around, probably similar vegetation. That's fun. What a fun community, like a fun little cultural thing. Having the water on either side, like, keeps it just separate enough from the city, I think, to give it like its own little culture, you know? That's so cool.
I have never experienced it so strongly anywhere else. One young man drawn towards the jazz scene was the inventor Trevor Bayliss, who loved Ilpai Island so much he made it his home for the rest of his life, thus becoming one of its most famous residents. Although he invented many gadgets to help those with physical disabilities, Trevor's most famous creation was the wind-up radio, which in the 1990s helped revolutionise communication in rural African communities.
That's some out-of-the-box thinking. How cool would it be to live on this island and there's a jazz club? You could just walk down the island and see a show, grab a bite, and a pint.
Trevor Bayliss passed away in March 2018, but just a month before his death, his last public appearance was to conduct the grand opening of the Ilpai Island Museum.
Right on.
The Ilpai Island Museum, located on the mainland on Richmond Road, is easily one of the friendliest in London. I was even offered a cup of tea whilst I was there.
Nice.
It's staffed by passionate volunteers and features engaging displays on the area's boat building and musical heritage, plus of course a special corner devoted to the life and work of Trevor Bayliss.
Good.
If you're in the area, be
Hey,
sure to pay them a visit.
What else did he invent? English inventor, best known for the wind-up radio. Really brilliant. Bayliss invented it in response to the need to communicate information about AIDS to the people of Africa. Wow. Heart of gold. He was a stunt man. His colleagues had injuries, and that's what made him start inventing. He regularly attended jazz performances at the Ilpai Island Hotel. We can confirm what the video's telling us. What did he... Well, they didn't mention his inventions. Clockwork radio. What else? That's all they're mentioning, really. Maybe none of the other inventions took off. That's fine. Stones and hippies.
In early 1963, audience numbers at the Ilpai Islands Jazz Nights began to dip noticeably. The reason soon became clear. Over in nearby Richmond, at the Station Hotel, a new venue, the Crawdaddy Club, had just opened. It was there that a fresh new act calling themselves the Rolling Stones were starting to make waves.
Okay.
Eager to play Ilpai Island as well, Brian Jones reached out to Arthur Chisnell, prompting the launch of a rhythm and blues night at the club, initially on Wednesdays, to accommodate the band's sound. The Rolling Stones played their first gig on the island on the 20th.
That's smart of Brian Jones, you know. Good for him. That's smart. That's what you gotta do. Make your own opportunities, right? Way to go, Brian.
The Rolling Stones played their first gig on the island on the 24th of April 1963 and held a residency there for the next 5 months, during which time they became a major draw, with queues stretching all the way across the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
The Rolling Stones
Be scary.
paved the way for
A line going all the way across that bridge. I'm actually kind of surprised that bridge held all those
the
people.
way across the bridge. The Rolling Stones paved the way for a whole new wave of acts at the hotel, including the Yardbirds, Manfred Mann, Screaming Lord Sutch, Cream, Jimmy Cliff, and David Bowie, way back when he was with the Manish Boys and still known as David Jones.
Huh.
In the 1960s, the Ilpai Island Hotel was documented at least twice on film. First in the 1966 Italian comedy, Fumo di Londra, in which a man infatuated with the British upper classes somehow manages to stumble onto the island. And then in 1967's factual documentary, Look at Life.
There's the ballroom. It's huge.
In 1967, the hotel's license was revoked, resulting in its sudden closure.
What?
It was briefly reopened in 1968, during which Joe Cocker, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown, and The Who played here, and then rebranded in 1969 with a name more in line with the zeitgeist of the time, Colonel Barefoot's Rock Garden.
Oh, funny.
During this,
That is of the time, isn't it? Why was the license revoked in 1967? The hotel was in a ruinous state and deemed a health hazard by authorities. The building was falling into disrepair, and after a large number of required costly repairs were not made, the council closed the venue. Dang. Oh, the owner could not afford the costs. Well, that's what happens when you don't pay the bills.
this period, prog rock and heavy rock were a thing, seeing gigs by Pink Floyd, Hawkwind,
Wow.
Genesis, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple.
That's amazing.
Colonel Barefoot's was short-lived though, and once the concert stopped, a group of anarchists moved in to squat out of the hotel. By 1970, Ilpai
It's a good
Island
spot.
was believed to harbour the largest hippie commune in Britain.
Oh, that's
Life in the
wild.
commune was far from idyllic. Rubbish collection was
Oh.
halted, and the electricity was cut off, leading the bohemian residents to begin ripping out the hotel's wooden fittings for firewood.
No, guys.
Then in 1971, the Ilpai Island Hotel was wiped out for good in a large blaze.
See.
The site is now covered by a property development called Aquarius, a name which was no doubt chosen as a nod to the previous hippie residents, although there's no squatting allowed here nowadays.
Oh. Is it like condos? Is that what I'm looking at? That's surprising. Aquarius. I don't see it. Maybe it's just not marked. That's a large building. Colorado Studios, Signet's Art School, Twickenham, Boat Repair, Bitter and Twisted, Twickenham Rowing Club. There's the bridge right there. Where was the hotel, I wonder? I feel like, well, maybe these. Oh, there they are. Oh, okay, yes. All right. Okay, so these condos here are where the hotel was. Right there. Okay, yeah. Wow, I wish it was still there. Such a cool place for a venue. But I do think it's neat that people can just live there. It really does remind me of Venice. Like this little house, this design looks like something you'd see in Venice. Bohemian.
Although there's no longer a pub on Ilpai Island, there are still two historical and very lovely ones standing close by.
That's good.
The White Swan, opposite the northeastern end of the island, which dates from 1690, and closer to Ilpai Island's bridge, the Barmy Arms, which dates from the 1700s.
Okay.
Close by, on Twickenham's Church Street, there's also the Ilpai Tavern. The 1990s were a tough time for Ilpai Island. In November 1996, a devastating blaze tore through the island, destroying many of the boathouses and artist studios that had come to define its character, leaving livelihoods in ashes.
I guess that makes sense. You're on a little isolated island. It's probably tough for the fire department to get over there, right? Well, you can't get a truck over there. You'd have to spray the water across the river. But there's so much water. It seems like they could carry buckets. I don't know. That's unfortunate.
Yet despite this setback, the Ilpai Island community rallied. Rebuilding from the ruins, they
Good.
restored to the island's spirit. And today, it's as strong and as colourful as ever.
Sunflower. Beautiful.
Thank you so much for watching.
My pleasure, Rob.
I hope you enjoyed this look at the history of Ilpai Island.
I did.
And as always, I'd love to hear your own thoughts.
Well,
Have you managed to
let-
attend an open day there yourself? And if you could
No.
see any of the many acts who played at the hotel, which would it be? please be sure to let me know in the
Oh,
comments.
gosh.
If you haven't yet subscribed to Rob's London,
All of them.
then I'd appreciate it very much if you could please consider doing so.
Be sure to go to Rob's London and like and subscribe.
Icon to receive notifications will ensure that you don't miss out whenever I publish a new video. Plus, of course, it'd be wonderful to have you along. If you're feeling extra generous, you can also support my work with a tip via either my Ko-fi account, which I'll link below, or the YouTube thanks button, which appears as a heart icon beneath the video. Any such financial donations are of course greatly appreciated, and they really do help go towards creating content.
Where's the heart icon?
Anyway, on that note, thanks again for watching, friends. Stay well, and please be sure to stay tuned.
Y'all be sure to go to Rob's London and like and subscribe. This was delightful. Oh, in memory of Lawrence Murray. R.I.P. Lawrence Murray. This was great. I had never heard of Eel Pie Island before this. I'm surprised that I haven't, with all the stuff with the Rolling Stones, the Yardbirds. Who else? Deep Purple, Black Sabbath. Wow, such a cool place. I wish that hotel was still there. I wish there was still a music venue there. I wish there was still a pub on the island. That must have been a cool place to live back in the day. Anyway, this was great. Y'all be sure to go to Rob's London and like and subscribe. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.